Allah and His Messenger, for indeed He has achieved a great triumph. And whomsoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, for indeed he was successful. O you who have believed, fear Allah. وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا, and say an upright word. Speaking upright is a characteristic of a believer, not speaking zigzag or crooked. The mu'min speaks upright because the lisan, the tongue, is a reflection of your inner state. If your heart is upright, if your heart is sincere, if your heart has sidq, that sidq and that sincerity portrays on your tongue. It comes out and it's magnified on the tongue. وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا, say an upright word. يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالُكُمْ, Allah will rectify your affairs for you. Allah will facilitate. Allah will make the doing of good made easy for you. Allah will make you the good doing, good acts made easy for you. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبُكُمْ, and He will forgive you of your shortcomings. And whomsoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, for indeed he has achieved a great triumph. So Allah teaches us at the end of this ayah, the secret key to success in this world and the next, obedience to Allah and His Messenger. If you want to live with happiness in this world, if you want to be healthy in this world, physically healthy and mentally healthy and spiritually healthy, you obey Allah and His Messenger. That is true success. My dear brothers and sisters, we are about 2 days out from the greatest month of the year, the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is absolutely amazing. The month of Ramadan is the month of family. The month of Ramadan is the month of the masjid. The month of Ramadan is the month of patience. The month of Ramadan of fasting. The month of Ramadan is the month of taqwa. The month of Ramadan is the month of siyam, fasting, not iftar. The month of Ramadan is the month of the masjid and taraweeh and Quran. The month of Ramadan is nothing but jittery feelings and happiness for the believer. The month of Ramadan is nothing but jittery feelings and happiness for the believer. We say this all the time. Your anticipation and your excitement, or your lack of anticipation and lack of excitement for the month of Ramadan is a reflection of the state of your iman. The mu'min looks forward every single day of the entire year for the month of Ramadan. So when it comes closer, he gets very excited because it's the greatest guest to ever visit you. Having the honor of living to witness another Ramadan is one of the greatest honors. And the believer understands this concept well. It's the greatest of all for Ramadan. This is the state of his heart and his iman. This is a reflection of the state of his heart and his iman. Why is that? Because your love for Ramadan is equivalent to your love for Allah. Because Ramadan equals Allah. Fasting equals Allah. The masjid equals Allah. Taraweeh equals Allah. The Quran equals Allah. All of these things are different acts of worship and remembrances of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's amazing. And the mu'min loves Allah. The one who's not excited for Ramadan and he's inconvenienced by Ramadan, he's lacking in this regard. Because his love for his meal planning and his love for the gym and his love for Netflix and his love for YouTube and his love for whatever it is overcomes his love for Allah. That's not right, brother. Ramadan, and you're just mad and inconvenienced by the upcoming month of Ramadan. This is a bad way to think about it. You should feel honored. You should feel so happy that Allah granted you the ability to witness another Ramadan. How do you do that? By understanding the meaning of Ramadan and the virtue of Ramadan. We say, what do you mean? We say, brothers and sisters, Ramadan is amazing. It's the most virtuous month of the year. It's the greatest opportunity in the world to capitalize on. The smart individual, he capitalizes on a sale. Black Friday sale, he goes and he waits outside for 17 hours so he could save $400 on a plasma TV. That's the smart person. He saves money because he capitalizes on a sale. The smartest of all individuals is who capitalizes on the sale of the hereafter. رَبِحَ الْبَيْعِ. You win if you capitalize on the sale of the hereafter. We want to capitalize on the sale of the hereafter. We want to be smart. What's the sale of the hereafter? Witnessing Ramadan and having your Ramadan accepted equals maghfirah, jannat al-khuld. You exerting yourself in 1 month, maghfirah, jannat al-khuld. I'll give you all an example for taqreeb. I'll give you all an example for us to understand better. There was a great companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His name was Talha ibn Ubaidullah. He was one of the first Muslims to accept the religion of Islam. We say, what do you mean by that? We say that, brothers and sisters, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the overwhelming majority of them were converts to Islam. Talha ibn Ubaidullah was in a place called the Sham, the Levant region, Syria, doing some business there when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came out with Islam. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq accepted Islam early on. Talha came back from his business dealings in Syria and he immediately accepted Islam as well. من السابقون الأولون. He was from the first companions to accept Islam. He was from the عشر المبشرة. He was from the 10 companions promised Jannah. He was from the 10 companions that were promised Jannah. We say, what do you mean by that? We say that the Prophet ﷺ gave us glad tidings of 10 companions of Jannah. He told them that you're going to be in Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you want to see someone on the face of the earth who's a shaheed on earth, فانظروا إلى طلحة ibn Ubaidullah. If you want to see someone who's a shaheed on earth, a walking shaheed on this dunya, in this world, where do you find a walking shaheed? He says, look at Talha ibn Ubaidullah. We say, why? Why is Talha ibn Ubaidullah a walking shaheed? Because Talha ibn Ubaidullah was a great companion, a fierce warrior, and he participated in all the battles of the Badr. In the Ghazwa of Badr, he was also doing some business in Syria. It seems like there was good business up there. Also known as Talha al-Fayyad wal-Jawad, wa Talha al-Khair. He was known as Talha al-Fayyad and Jawad and Talha al-Khair. The Prophet ﷺ used to refer to him as and give him a nickname as Talha the extremely generous, al-Jawad wal-Fayyad, meaning his money just goes, he throws his money. Yani hot potato generosity. Hot potato, you have a potato in your hand, it's hot, you throw the potato. That's how he was when it came to giving to the poor and the needy. He was very generous. And he got his nickname, his other nickname by the Prophet. When the Prophet said, if you want to see a shaheed walking on earth, look at Talha. Because of the battle of Uhud, he protected the Prophet ﷺ's life. He used himself as a human shield to protect the Prophet on the day of Uhud when the Muslims were getting hit hard by the mushrikeen. And he got paralyzed. His right hand was paralyzed on that day. Companions were fighting between each other. Talha passed away a shaheed. So this man Talha had two friends, two of his qabila called Bali. They both on the same day. One of these two was overly religious. He was more outwardly religious. He was more apparently religious than the other. Meaning the other guy, he was good. This guy was very religious. This guy that was very religious passed away as a martyr. He passed away in battle, a shaheed. The other one, his friend, passed away 1 year later from normal circumstances. He passed away 1 year later from normal circumstances, not as a shaheed. We know that the virtue of the martyr is great. Slowly, a little after that incident, Talha ibn Ubaidullah, he has a dream. In his dream, he sees the gates of Jannah. And he sees his two friends from Bali that converted on the same day. The guy that was very religious and the other guy that passed away a year after him. And he sees himself in the dream. And they're at the gates of Jannah. And the gates of Jannah fling open. And the angels and the gatekeepers of Jannah come out. And they call the one who passed away a year after in Jannah. Then they call the other guy that passed away a shaheed, the religious guy. They tell him to enter Jannah. Then they look at Talha, and Talha, he sees himself in third person in the dream, and they say, not yet, it's not your time yet. Your time has not come yet. So this is a great dream for Talha, because his time is eventually going to come, and the gatekeepers of Jannah said, not yet, yani he's going to go to Jannah, inshallah. So Talha, he wakes up, and he has mixed emotions, mixed feelings. He has emotions of extreme happiness and excitement, because he just got the bushra of Jannah for himself, the glad tidings of Jannah, and he's also confused and perplexed. We say, why is he confused and perplexed? We say, if you're paying attention, the first guy that was much more religious didn't enter Jannah first. The other guy entered Jannah first. The guy that was normal. So he was talking to his buddies from the Sahaba. They were chit-chatting before Fajr and they were all confused. So after Salat al-Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ, he looked at Talha and he says, what is it that confuses you all? What are you speaking about? And it was from the Prophet's habit that after Fajr he used to turn around and ask the companions, which one amongst you had a dream last night that he would like to share to us? The Prophet was very interactive, and sometimes the companions had great dreams, and sometimes a dream is a glad tiding, and it's a ru'ya from Allah, and it grants steadfastness and happiness in the heart of a believer. He said, what is it that confuses you all? What is the commotion about? So Talha, he says, I had a dream last night, and these two buddies of mine from Bali, they converted on the same day. He tells the Prophet ﷺ the story, and the Prophet responds to Talha, and he says, what is it that perplexes you? What is it that confuses you? The Prophet tells him, what is it that confuses you? He said, did this man, the second guy, not witness another Ramadan? Did he not live to witness another Ramadan? We say, whoa, subhanallah. The virtue of Ramadan is immense, it's unparalleled. The blessing of Ramadan is immense and unparalleled. There's no other month like it. There's no other opportunity which can tajannah like Ramadan. We give you another example from another hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, he says in Bukhari and Muslim, "Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi." Do you know how easy it is to make it to Jannah? Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi. Whomsoever fast the month of Ramadan, whomsoever fast the month of Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban, with iman, yani with sincerity, with sidq, wa ihtisaban, and with anticipation of the reward from Allah, and with anticipation, yani I'm anticipating my reward from who? From Allah, meaning my sincerity is immense. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. He's forgiven, his past sins are forgiven, meaning that he enters Jannah. That's it, just by fasting. Just by fasting. In another hadith, مَنْ قَامَ رَمَضَانَ إِيمَانًا وَاحْتِسَابًا غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. Whomsoever stood in Ramadan with iman, with sincerity, واحتسابا, and seeking your accountability from Allah, غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. His sins have been forgiven, aka Jannah. Then a third hadith, مَنْ قَامَ لَيْلَةَ الْقَدْرِ إِيمَانًا وَاحْتِسَابًا غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. Whomsoever stood in Laylat al-Qadr. What does it mean to stand in Ramadan? And what does it mean to stand in Laylat al-Qadr? It means to stand in Salah, Taraweeh, Qiyam al-Layl. It means to pray Salah. It means to exert yourself at night in this time. Whomsoever stood Laylat al-Qadr one day with iman and sincerity, he's forgiven. Yani 3 opportunities. One from fasting, one from Taraweeh in Ramadan, and one from just Laylat al-Qadr to make it to Jannah. To make it to Jannah. Meaning it's very easy. The other hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, if Ramadan comes, the gates of Jannah are flung open and the gates of Jahannam are closed shut, and the shayateen are locked up, they're chained up, the shaitan is locked up. The shaitan is locked up. We say, what does this hadith mean? We say, brother, this is the virtue of the virtues of Ramadan. This is another example for you to understand the facilitation of goodness and khair in Ramadan and the difficulty to do haram in Ramadan. We say, why? What does this hadith mean? The scholars, they have 2 ways of interpreting this hadith, 2 ways. They say the first way is we could take it on its literal form. If the brothers could please move forward, and the brothers in the back could come sit down inside and not just stand up. Yeah. So we can interpret it in 2 ways. The literal way means, literally, the gates of Jannah are flung open, and the gates of Jahannam are slammed shut, and the shayateen are locked up. And the other way to interpret this hadith, and the majority of scholars use this, is that this is figurative speech, saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitates good in Ramadan. He facilitates khair in Ramadan, and He makes doing haram difficult in Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He facilitates good, and He makes doing haram difficult. And He makes doing haram difficult. We say, why is that? We say, why and how is that? We say, because we have an ayah of the Quran. And we say, interestingly, the command of fasting comes one single time in the Quran. The command of fasting, it comes in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. O you who have believed, fasting has been prescribed unto you, as it has been prescribed unto those before you, so that you may achieve taqwa, so that you may taste taqwa, so that perhaps you could become a person of taqwa. We say, what does that mean? We say that when you have taqwa, when your taqwa battery is magnified and recharged, doing good is made easy, and doing haram is made difficult. Why is that? Because if you live with Allah, you can't do haram. And if you live with Allah, you want to please Allah, and you want Allah to be pleased with you, so you want to do good. And when you fast, you are granted this notion of taqwa more than any other act of worship. You are granted this notion of taqwa more than any other act of worship. We say, why, brother? I could get taqwa from going to the masjid. We say, wallahi, you get taqwa from many things. You could get taqwa from going to the masjid. You could get taqwa from praying salah. You could get taqwa from reading Quran. You could get taqwa, an increase of taqwa by having good friends. All true. But the greatest form of taqwa is fasting. And we say, why is fasting the greatest form of taqwa? We say, because you're constantly reminding yourself 20 hours in the day, 16 hours in the day, 15 hours in the day, however long the fast is, that you're fasting. We say when you fast and you're reminding yourself that you're fasting, this is taqwa. Why is that? Because you wake up and you say, I want to drink some water, but I can't drink water because I'm fasting. Reminding yourself of Allah. Reminding yourself that Allah is watching you. Brothers and sisters, Allah watches you throughout the year, all 12 months of the year, all 365 days of the year. But in Ramadan, you feel like Allah is right on top of you with a microscope because your taqwa battery is magnified. Why? Because of the fast. Because of the fast. Then when you fast, you don't want to do haram. Then when you fast, you don't want to do haram because you're reminding yourself that you're fasting, reminding yourself that Allah is watching you. reminding yourself indirectly that Allah is watching you. Someone comes and he talks to you about someone in Ramadan. You say, brother, please, no backbiting, I'm fasting. But backbiting outside Ramadan is allowed? No, but the taqwa is a little low. The taqwa battery is a little daif, it's low battery. Ramadan comes to supercharge your taqwa battery. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us ease this Ramadan. We ask Allah to grant us understanding this Ramadan. We ask Allah to make us people of taqwa this Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us sincerity this Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us Jannah this Ramadan. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أوصي نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله تعالى. My dear brothers and sisters, I remind myself and all of you to fear Allah and to be cognizant of Allah and to be aware of Allah. Just two gentle reminders to myself and to everyone, because if I make this reminder in the beginning of the khutbah, before I ascend the minbar, there's only 7 people here. But now the masjid is very busy. A gentle reminder to myself and to everyone. And the believer, he benefits from a remembrance. If someone gives a nasiha, a piece of advice to a mu'min, he takes heed and he accepts it. But the arrogant person doesn't like to accept advice because he knows everything already. 2 people, they don't benefit in the world. 2 people, they don't benefit. The arrogant individual and the person who is shy. The person who is shy doesn't ask, and the arrogant person, he knows everything already. What does he have to learn? He's a mufti, he's an engineer, he's a mechanic, everything he knows already. Piece of advice for myself and everyone. When you enter the masjid, you leave your phone in the car, or you turn your phone off, and you don't text during the khutbah, and you don't go on your Facebook during the khutbah, because not only do you void the Jum'ah of any blessings for yourself, but you ruin it for everyone around you. And that's not fair, because you bother the person next to you when you go on your phone. You don't answer your phone during the khutbah. You don't answer the phone during your khutbah, and you don't go on Facebook during the khutbah, and you don't go on WhatsApp during the khutbah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qalab al-hasa faqad lagha." The Prophet, he said, whomsoever plays with the pebbles during Jum'ah, faqad lagha. His Jum'ah is void of blessings. It has no blessings to it, it has no barakah in it. The pebbles were on the floor of Masjid al-Nabawi. Masjid al-Nabawi didn't have a carpet. Meaning that, don't play with the floor during the Jum'ah. Forget the phone. Forget the phone. Don't play with the floor. Don't play with the carpet during Jum'ah. You sit and you pay attention to the khutbah, because listening to the khutbah is wajib, it's mandatory. The other thing is, there's certain times that someone gives salam to someone. You don't give salam to someone when you enter Jum'ah. You enter the masjid, you be quiet and you sit down. You give salam after. After you go give salam, you go to the coffee shop, you buy supermarket outside after you finish the khutbah, not during the khutbah, the Jum'ah. Give salam after. If someone gives you salam and you're sitting in the masjid, you ignore him. You don't look back at him. You ignore him. You get reward for ignoring him. But sometimes we have to be wise. Sometimes we have to exert wisdom, and you just do this, this, and you look down. No giving salam during the khutbah, no talking during the khutbah, and no going on your phone during the khutbah. It's not because of me, it's the rulings of the khutbah, the Jum'ah. Everything has rules and regulations and conditions to it. With that being said, I want to end this khutbah. Brother, there's plenty of space, you could come sit down. Please come sit down. Yeah. We want to end the khutbah with a beautiful hadith Qudsi from the Prophet ﷺ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا الصيام فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به. Every single action that the son of Adam does is for him, except for fasting. It is for me, and I will reward it accordingly. It is for me, and I will reward it accordingly. What does this mean? We say that every single action or good deed that you do has a certain reward attached to it. Every single good deed you do is 10 rewards. 10 حسنات. إلى 700 ضعف, up until 700. والله يضاعف لمن يشاء. And Allah increases for whom He wishes. Every act of good that you do, every act of birr that you do, every act of khair that you do is 10 rewards. This is from the mercy of Allah. And every sayyi'ah you do, every bad deed you do is one single sayyi'ah. And if you intend to do a sayyi'ah, if you intend to do a bad deed, but something holds you back from making a bad deed and you don't do it, I intended to do it, I have an intention to do haram, but I wasn't able to, it's written as a reward. It's not written as a bad deed. And if you intend to do an act of khair, if you intend to do an act of birr, and you're not able to do that act, so you have a constant habit of doing something good, or I really have a strong intention to do something, but something stops me from doing it, something actually stops me from doing it, it gets written as a reward. It gets written as a reward, but every reward you actually do is 10, minimum 10 reward, up until 700. Wallahu yudaifu liman yasha, up until 700, based upon the person's sincerity in his heart, based upon the level of sincerity. The more sincere an act is, the more rewarding it is. Then Allah, the reward of siyam, He says, He attributes it to Himself. He says, it's for me, and I will reward it accordingly. Meaning that The person who fasts with sincerity, the reward is not disclosed. It's the highest rewarding act of worship. We say, why is fasting so rewarding? Why is fasting so immensely rewarding? We say for two reasons. It's the most sincere act in the world, because if you want to break your fast, you could go hide and break your fast. So when you fast sincerely for the sake of Allah. Fasting is the one act you could hide from anybody. You don't have to tell everyone you're fasting. You could hide it from people when you fast. And also, it's a very difficult act. It's a very difficult act. You're leaving off your desires. You're leaving off your food and your desires and your drink. And Allah loves that. Allah, He says, وَالصِّيَامُ جُنَّةٌ, and fasting is a shield. And fasting is a shield. It's a protection. We say, what is a fasting a shield? What does that mean? وَالصِّيَامُ جُنَّةٌ. How is fasting a shield? We say it's a shield from two ways. It's a shield from your skin, from the fire of Jahannam. Because when you fast with sincerity, you go to Jannah and you're protected from the fire of Jahannam. It's a shield for your skin from the fire of Jahannam. And it's a shield for you for doing haram. It's a shield from haram. Why? Because taqwa, you have taqwa shield. Taqwa shield made possible by the great gift of fasting. And then the Prophet ﷺ says, وَإِذَا كَانَ يَوْمَ صَوْمِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَلَا يَرْفَثْ وَلَا يَصْخَبْ فَإِنْ سَابَّهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ فَلْيَقُلْ إِنِّي إِمْرَأٌ صَائِمٌ. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if someone was fasting a day of his life, if he was fasting, فَلَا يَرْفَثْ وَلَا يَصْخَبْ, so let him not speak in a bad way. Let him not speak about bad things. Let him speak good. Let him speak good. And he said, وَلَا يَصْخَبْ, and let him not raise his voice in an argumentative manner. Let him not raise his voice. Let him not yell. And if someone was to come and curse him, and if someone was to come and make a problem with him, let him respond to that person saying, Inni sa'im, inni imra'un sa'im, I am fasting today. Meaning, leave me alone, please. No argument. I argue with you after iftar. I'm joking. No arguing today. I'm fasting. I don't want my rewards to be taken away. وَالَّذِي نَفْسُ مُحَمَّدٍ بِيَدِهِ لَخُلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ أَطْيَبُ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. And by the one who holds, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, and by the one who holds my soul in his hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet now, he swears by Allah, and by Allah, who holds my soul in his hand, لَخُلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ أَطْيَبُ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. That the breath of the fasting individual is more beloved to Allah than rih al-miski, than the greatest perfume, the most expensive perfume. Misk is taken from the bone of a deer. You go to the haram, you cross the street from the haram, you enter the clock tower, big mall, misk, utur, you go and ask for the most expensive thing. He goes, brother, this one, this is the most expensive one. This is musk, the greatest smelling musk, the longest lasting perfume. Allah, He says here something beautiful. If the brothers can please move forward, we're going to finish in 2 minutes. If the brothers can move forward, because the brothers in the back need space. There's plenty of space. Brothers, please move forward. I know we all want to rush out after. That's why we have to get a good position. Just move forward. It's okay. It's not going to change 30 seconds after the khutbah. The breath of the fasting person, is more beloved to Allah than the most expensive perfume. And why is that? Because sometimes you may see something in this world as meaningless or small, but Allah, He sees it as great. Because the breath doesn't just mean the bad breath. The bad breath comes out from your lack of eating and drinking. That bad breath that your breath has is due to something. We say, what is behind the reason for the bad breath? The reason for the bad breath is I'm leaving off my eating and my drinking for the sake of Allah. And this is beloved in the sight of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves this act. Sometimes you may see something as small and insignificant, but Allah, He sees it as great and beautiful. The fact that you have bad breath in Ramadan means you're leaving off your food and your drink for the sake of Allah. And that's a beautiful thing for Allah. And then He says, لِلصَّائِمِ فَرْحَتَانِ يَفْرَحُهُمَا. The fasting person has two instances where he's extremely happy and overfilled with joy. The fasting individual is happy twice. إِذَا أَفْطَرَ فَرِحَ وَإِذَا لَقِيَ رَبَّهُ فَرِحَ بِصَوْمِهِ. If he makes iftar, he's happy. If he makes iftar, he's happy. And when he meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's overfilled with joy. Of course, this happiness in iftar is your happiness in this dunya. This happiness in iftar is the happiness in this dunya that you get. It's a small piece of enjoyment in this dunya, but the real happiness is when the fasting individual meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment and he sees his reward immense and great and strong. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us an acceptance this Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who fast with sincerity in the month of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with understanding and acceptance. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We ask Allah to grant them victory over their oppressors. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this Ramadan a month of victory and opening for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this Ramadan a month of victory and opening for all of us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lighten our hearts with the light of the Quran, to lighten our vision with the light of the Quran, to lighten our hearing with the light of the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and to bless all the masjids in the world. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. إن الله تعالى يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا واعتدلوا تراسوا. Pray as if it is your last prayer. Please turn your phones off. Don't go on Facebook during Salah. Pray with sincerity. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله من حميده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سمع الله من حمده. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, just a couple of announcements. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us, inshallah, and to balaghna Ramadan. We ask Allah to grant us health so we can witness many more Ramadans. We have a lighting of the fanus for Passaic County. It's going to be on Grant Street in Patterson on the 9th at 2 p.m. So we ask you all to join us to that, for that. And there's a Ramadan food drive. Today it's by Masjid Adam and by Munna Youth. They're the ones doing it. On Munna Youth Center, Patterson, Masjid Adam, 340 Toro Avenue. And that's going to be from 2 to 4 p.m. the food drive for Ramadan. And I'll be giving a talk tonight in Masjid Fusion in Paramus after Salat al-Maghrib about Ramadan. If you all would like to join us, you could join us there, inshallah. The first night of Taraweeh will be here. It will be on Sunday night, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Taraweeh, it's all written on their website, the ICPC NJ. After Salatul Isha, I'm not sure the exact timing, but it's on the website, inshallah. Sunday night is the first night of Taraweeh. First day of fasting is Monday. 8:30. 8:30. I do well. There's also a lighting of the fanus in Wayne tonight at 5:30 and here in Hilden at 7 p.m. So you could go take your family there, then you come rush here, then tomorrow you go, we light up all the fanus together, Wayne 5:30 and Hilden 7.